and taking a moment to bask in the appreciation of this sold-out Crypto.com arena. Timeless Toni Storm most certainly earned this one, Nigel.
No question about it. She will go and enjoy a few cocktails this evening. She swims in the glory of victory.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That is Ronda Rousey, close personal friend of Marina Shafir.
And I think the realization is hitting Toni Storm right now.
Ronda Rousey is calling out Timeless Toni Storm. Ronda Rousey, she faced Gina Carano in a featherweight super fight on May 16th, but is calling out the former AEW Women's World Champion here in Los Angeles tonight.
Smile on the face of Toni Storm, marching back to the ring.
Showdown.
As the referee corps, security, trying to separate these two women. Ronda Rousey.
A tantalizing prospect.
This is absolutely stunning.
But wait a second. Marina Shafir got a shot in.
I think Shafir may have landed a sucker punch because Toni Storm just went down in a heap.
And when she did, Ronda Rousey with a big smile on her face, I think it was Rousey playing the distraction that allowed Shafir to get that vicious cheap shot in.
You saw Toni Storm, she was seated on the top rope, didn't see Shafir coming. She was laser focused on Ronda Rousey. And the lights have dimmed for the Timeless One.
Here we go, our third title match thus far.
Look at Ronda Rousey getting into the mix, hyping up the AEW Continental Champion.
The following contest is wonderful with no time limit is for the AEW Continental Championship. Introducing first from Cincinnati, Ohio, weighing 231 pounds, he's already defending AEW Continental Champion, Jon Moxley.
Jon Moxley went through the 2025 Continental Classic Tournament. The runner-up in his group during the group stage action. But he went on to dethrone the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, not only to win the tournament, to win the AEW Continental Championship.
But it was during that tournament, Excalibur, that Moxley suffered one very ignominious defeat at the hands of his opponent tonight. And mark my words, that is going to be sitting in the craw of the Continental Champion, who looks to expunge that loss.
Jon Moxley tonight will be facing the last man to pin him in a professional wrestling ring.
Great point. And you know, we've seen a new national champion thus far. A great match between the Bucks, FTR, Colt and Cage back together again. How about that? And then Ronda Rousey, we still got, 8 matches to go?
And the challenger from Osaka, Japan, weighing 232 pounds, he's the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television
AEW Continental Championship will be contested under Continental rules. Everyone is banned from ringside. On TV, typically a 20-minute time limit, 60 minutes on pay-per-view, but tonight, no time limit, as Renee Paquette standing by.
It is absolute insanity out here tonight. Seemingly the Death Riders maybe acquired a new member in the baddest woman on the planet in Ronda Rousey. But a reminder that this match is for the Continental Championship, meaning everybody is banned from ringside. No Ronda, no Marina, no Don Callis family. This is do or die for Mox and Takeshita. There is no time limit. There must be a definitive winner here tonight in Los Angeles.
Thank you for that, Renee. One distinction between this and all previous Continental Championship matches on pay-per-view. No time limit, Nigel.
That's exactly right. And that, in my mind, will favor Takeshita, who already has had a shot at the title, but going the time limit draw in Australia with Moxley.
Why do you think this favors Takeshita?
Well, because if it didn't have that time limit, then the champion would have that advantage. Take away the time limit, take away the advantage, therefore the challenger in a much better position.
All right, let's see if that...
And to Nigel's point, Tony, Takeshita, as we mentioned, the last man to pin Jon Moxley in a professional wrestling match. Takeshita believes that he was robbed of the Continental Championship because of that screwdriver employed by Kazuchika Okada in their semifinal round match.
Takeshita highly motivated as well. Still a member of the Don Callis family, but was adamant that Don Callis didn't do any more damage to Jon Moxley recently. He wanted to prove he could beat him one-on-one without any help.
In their 5 previous meetings, Jon Moxley has scored 3 victories. Takeshita 1, and then the time limit draw in Sydney, Australia. They spent more than 1 hour and 20 minutes in the ring together, one-on-one. And this one could go all night. There must be a winner here in Los Angeles.
Right, and during that record, Moxley won the first 3 matches between those two. So Takeshita's managed to come back against Moxley. Tonight would be the crowning jewel for Takeshita.
And Nigel, I would argue that Moxley scored those 3 victories on Takeshita. Well, Takeshita was still finding his sea legs here in the United States. He'd established himself in Japan, uprooted his life, moved to the U.S., and was still trying to acclimate to All Elite Wrestling. Moxley succeeded then, but thus far, since Takeshita's acclimated, he's had the champ's number.
Yeah, you can certainly understand why it took a while for Takeshita to really find his feet. But he's had a few title reigns under his belt since that victory. Oh, wow. He certainly looks as confident as I've ever seen him.
Hammerthrow reverse. Takeshita on the move, ducking under the attack from Moxley. Takeshita line connects.
Moxley, the leader of the Death Riders. We just saw how vicious the Death Riders are, what they're willing to do to maintain an advantage. And we don't need to talk too long about Moxley's history. Don Callis has the visible scars of what Moxley is able to do.
Moxley, though, gouging the eyes of Takeshita.
Yeah, it's a great way to get out of that, no doubt.
Think about the Death Riders having Ronda Rousey as an associate.
A game changer. If Marina Shafir wasn't dangerous enough, the baddest woman on the planet. I tell you, if Megan Bayne and Lena Cross don't take the AEW Women's Tag Team titles tonight, I could see them become part of the Death Riders very soon.
I agree with that, Nigel. Thinking the same thing about Rousey and Marina. But look at Jon Moxley, just staggers back and comes forward.
And this match thus far has been a striking battle. Takeshita, scores, connects, and Jon Moxley staggered.
Oh, yeah. Thought twice about staying in there and getting another one. Again, I mentioned it earlier, close up to Renee Paquette, talking to her husband, Jon Moxley, about this matchup. Moxley talked about how he knew Takeshita could beat him. Perhaps Moxley has as much respect for Takeshita as anyone he's ever faced.
A hell of a kick delivered by Konosuke Takeshita into the jaw of Jon Moxley. Over Moxley! Hoping Suicida Takeshita hard into the barricade.
Jon Moxley taking a big risk there during the Continental Classic, injuring his ankle. I'm pretty sure it's not 100%. He certainly had to be very cautious the way he landed the dive there.
Moxley, I thought for a moment, used the chair as a weapon, instead seating Takeshita on the chair, raking the face and landing a boot of his own into the jaw of the challenger.
Yeah, Jon Moxley is unbelievable in the violence that he can throw out, the things that he can do. You know, we were heading to this event. John was talking to TV Insider and said there is no end to point in this. I'm realizing that more and more as time goes on, you just keep getting better and learning and involving, or you die.
Yeah, I know he's got to be upset. Moxley as committed to pro wrestling as anything else in his life.
Now Moxley taking the high ground, raining the right hands down on the head of the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita. Now Takeshita went to gouge the eyes of Moxley for the escape, and Moxley showing he's better at playing this game than Takeshita is.
I think that was right. It was right above the eye.
But it is the previously damaged eye. I don't know if you caught it. Slight mouse or a bit of a black eye. The left eye, I think it's from Takeshita's match with Castagnoli.
Oh, and Takeshita came down, hobbled on that ankle, and now Moxley seizing on it.
Well, kind of ironic after I mentioned Moxley suffering damage to his leg.
And Takeshita, it doesn't take much to roll an ankle, to jam a knee. Whatever it was, Jon Moxley sensed the opportunity. Now a variety of options available for the champion. You mentioned the damage, the shiner on the eye of Takeshita, created by Claudio Castagnoli. Now Moxley attacking the limb, the left leg of Takeshita.
Right now, Moxley's in complete control of this. Look. And he knows it. You can see the face of Moxley.
So enjoying his handiwork. Moxley said that Takeshita has challenged him more than anyone before to the core of his pro wrestling soul.
Moxley, when he broke out to the ropes, he dropped you. He said, come on, get up. There's nobody like Jon Moxley, gentlemen.
Jon Moxley, of course, won the 2025 Continental Classic, but Konosuke Takeshita made history, finishing the group stage undefeated. 4 wins in a time limit draw. He was not beaten in group stage, the highest point total of any competitor thus far in the Continental Classic.
See that dragon screw coming a mile away.
Takeshita unable to avoid it nonetheless. Simple single leg Boston Crab.
The knee planted in the lower back of Takeshita, anchoring the challenger to the mat. Takeshita trying to bow up on the elbows, but Moxley steps over now.
Finally stepping the whole way through. Oh, and that's the reason why. His version of the horse collar with the foot instead of the neck. Right now, Takeshita desperately reaching out for the bottom rope because the knee got to be some kind of ligament damage, perhaps. Maybe the meniscus. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one.
The lunge to the bottom rope relief for Konosuke Takeshita, but Moxley now feeling that this match may be in hand.
Commanding presence as Moxley, the archetypal predator. Looking perhaps for some kind of pile driver. Interesting strategy though. He had been focusing on the leg. Now the head or neck. What?
Takeshita using his legs, using his core to reverse Moxley, but Moxley hung on. Sunset flips. Takeshita, oh, knee intercepted. Moxley had it. He was prepared, and now the figure 4 leg lock, center of the ring.
That's what you call doing your homework, gentlemen. Every match that Takeshita's had in AEW, every match Jon Moxley's had in AEW,